let's start the session. March lynched the competition, balls by that action. You can never debate it, this is actual fact. Stephen A. and Max Kale said they say it's a rap. I'm like, say what? Say what? What's up with all my haters? I'm a ball when I perform, so my jersey's in the air. I'm allergic to my haters, every morning I prepare. Lot of clothes I can wear just like them Oregon players. Yeah, quack, quack, what it do? Rap like it's nothing to it. Matter of fact, you can ask hard and I'm cooking too. Base guard cooking too. Nah, look at you. Great mind, they embrace mine like a crooked tooth. 4 takes, that's you. 3 takes, not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take, stop me. 4 takes, that's you. 3 takes, not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take, they got me.
Come on in. Welcome into First Take. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Full house today. We got Jeff Saturday here, Stephen A. Smith,
long
Max
time.
Kellerman.
Yeah, how you doing, brother?
Good to see you.
How y'all doing?
I'm good.
You good? You good? Let's roll. Let's do this.
We ready to get into this or what?
I'm always ready. I don't have a problem being ready.
You always
I really,
do.
really
Never
don't have
forget
a
about
problem.
Max. All right,
You know what I'm
let's
saying?
get into it. About last night, Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers became the first quarterback to throw for 300 yards against the Eagles. And the Packers snapped a 4-game losing streak, defeating Philly 27-13. Stephen A., from what you saw last night, is your boy back?
Back. No, he's not back. You know why? Because where the hell did he go? I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
was
All of this
gone.
stuff about where did he go?
He was gone.
Listen. Couple of bad games, suspect games, or what have you. I kept trying to tell y'all, mere bag of shells, no big deal. Why am I saying that? Because it really wasn't about Aaron Rodgers. It was about Jordy Nelson, who hasn't been the same since his injury. It's about Randall Cobb, your slot receiver, even though he's good. We also understand he could be better. About Devontae Adams coming on strong and reminding everybody of what his capability is. It's about Eddie Lacy, who was fat last year, got himself back into shape. But then last year, not this year, but got himself back into shape, but then got injured this year and what have you, not having a running back. It's about that porous defense, absolutely atrocious secondary due to Sam Shields primarily being injured. But having said all of that, let's pump the brakes just a touch here, just a touch. Because as I looked at the Eagles last night, I just want to say my condolences goes out to Jeffrey Lurie, the owner. I mean, he had a rough couple of years. Last year, he had to deal with the whole Chip Kelly thing. Right. This year, it's a bevy of injuries, and you got a rookie coach. You know, Peterson, you're challenging a call on a 2-yard pass. What the hell are you thinking? Talk about being a rookie coach. That's a problem. Aguilar, he was inactive. I wrote down the list here, Max, because there's a whole bunch of guys that were either injured, they were ill, or they were just inept. I was reading for the Philadelphia Inquirer, New York Daily News. Philadelphia Inquirer, my former paper where I worked 17 years.
Aren't we about to ask what's the problem in Philly? You want to do that now?
I'm not going to do that now. I'm not going to do that now. I'll touch on that a little bit later. Good point. All I'm trying to say to you is this. Considering the injuries, the illnesses, and everything else, we can't really say that Aaron Rodgers, oh my Lord, what a performance. What I'm saying is 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions on the season, completing 64% of his passes. Excuse me, this is what's considered bad when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. Let's just put that in perspective. Aaron Rodgers reminded people like you. Yeah, okay, I'm just messing with you because I know how you are about Tom Brady. I kind of confused your thoughts about Brady and Aaron Rodgers. But I just want to get on you a little bit. I want to make it up. I want to make it up that you got a problem with Aaron Rodgers because you seem to have a problem. You got a problem with Breeze. You got a problem with Brady. I'm just assuming he's going to find a problem with Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron's a little younger.
You need to change your name to Stephen H. Smith.
H?
Hypocrite. Because a couple weeks ago, a week or two ago, we were asked about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Is he elite? And I sat here and said, look, he got the 6th best QBR in the league. Every quarterback with a QBR over Aaron Rodgers was an MVP candidate. So had he slipped from where he was? Yeah, a little bit. But he was still elite. And I recall you arguing with me about that. Now,
so
he is now elite?
No, that's ridiculous.
He is now.
That's ridiculous.
He is now has the 4th best QBR in the league. But let's leave numbers alone, or else you're going to accuse me of not using the eyeball test.
That's right. We all know. Look at those eyeballs. Look at those eyeballs, John. He has to use those eyeballs.
That's how I look at the game, Max. Eyeballs.
Here's the eyeball
test. You see those eyeballs on him? He's got to use them.
When you looked at Aaron Rodgers in the last year and a half, did that look like the Aaron Rodgers? No. It looked like at times a good quarterback, at times a quarterback who's not quite great. Had a couple of bad games mixed in there. Not Aaron Rodgers. Was that Aaron Rodgers last night? Yes, it was. Talk about Devontae Adams. How about that? I think it was second quarter, right? The touchdown throw. Listen, that pass was so beautifully thrown.
Unbelievable.
How many quarterbacks can make that throw?
Right.
He does that when he's going well. That's not a fluke. It's done intentionally. It's done consistently. 300 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and the eyeball test says that dude is back.
Listen, he was never gone. I understand that team has struggled, but being back means that you went somewhere. This was not all placed at Aaron Rodgers'
Just taking his side.
Right? The quarterback always gets too much credit for wins, too much blame for losses. They have 0 running game. It is difficult in the NFL when Montgomery is your leading carrier and your leading back. I understand he's big, he's all those things. He's not a running back. That's not what he does each and every down, right? He's been working on receiver. He's got all these kind of things. Starks was hurt. Lacey's hurt. Offensive line's banged up. They sent Sitton off to Chicago. A lot of changes, a lot of moving parts. Lindsley was hurt. All the guys coming back. There was a lot of moving parts. The last 4 weeks before this, they'd given up 30 points twice, 40 points twice. That's not on Aaron Rodgers' side of the ball. That's a difficult thing to overcome. You pointed out it's a great point. Jordy Nelson has struggled taking the top off of defenses, which we've expected. He's coming back from his injuries.
He'll be better next year.
He will definitely be better. He'll be better as this season progresses on. Cobby was struggling some, getting open inside, all the things that we talked about from him being a slot receiver. Adams, last night, I mean, he stepped up. Listen, the ball was unbelievable. The catch was nasty. I mean, he is draped. For that thing to hit you and it was almost like you couldn't miss it. I mean, it was a thing of beauty that it happened, but you saw their defense. This is a beat-up Eagles team. I don't think you can make, grandiose statements about the Packers where we are right now. But I will say, as far as Rodgers, he always plays with a chip on his shoulder. He never felt accepted, never felt loved, whatever you want to talk about. But at the end of the day, that edge, that kind of defiant attitude when he said, listen, we're going to go win 6 straight, whatever it is, his team is now beginning to rally. It will be interesting to see when he plays talent, a strong team, Seahawks, he'll have the Lions the last game of the season, what it looks like then.
Road, yeah.
But when he had to do it last night, he did it.
Couple of things. First of all, when we brought up Aaron Rodgers a couple of weeks ago, I have my own standards, not the mere mortals. I have my own standards. I'm Steven.
I don't like
Why do you
look at us for mere mortals?
32 of 32 would take
That's
him.
right. I have no question.
You just said,
I got my
argument today is he never left.
He never left. But, again, to me, that's according to your standards. I have my own. But we'll revisit that. Here's the deal. I wanted you to be in on this segment because you played with the Packers.
Yeah.
And one of the things we've talked about over the last couple of weeks was some of the stories emanating out of the Packers.
Yeah.
Defensively, Mike McCarthy, Ted Thompson was even thrown into the mix to the point where Murphy had to come out, the president had to come out and say, no changes are being made. We're disappointed, but no changes are being made. I want to know what you've made of all the talk about the Packers and their troubles in recent weeks prior to last night's game. What was your attitude going into last night's game?
Yeah, I think when you looked at them from an offensive perspective, when I would talk about them the last few weeks, they have no rhythm. Right? Like offenses are built on rhythm. 3-step, let the ball go, right? Receiver's going to get open. It seemed like everything was going back to backyard football. We're going to try to extend plays, which I know they practice because I did it, right? They have drills out there where the horn blows, and they want you to extend the play another 2 or 3 seconds. The issue with that is when teams back off and make you take check downs and make you throw the ball down and make you run it to earn it, they couldn't answer that call. So when you're playing out of rhythm, it makes Aaron Rodgers look mortal, to your point, because to put that ball in when defensive backs are breaking on the ball instead of playing backwards and backing up, it's difficult to do. You don't have the run.
I have a question about that. Look, football is not the kind of game where you can, over the long haul, impose your physical gifts one player and consistently decide the outcome of games. I get that. But every now and then a guy comes along. Michael Vick at his best in that first breakout season, RG3 in his rookie season, Cam, Aaron Rodgers over the course, I think, of a couple seasons.
Right.
And there are some others, maybe including Andrew Luck in maybe his second or third season, where I felt like a player is just deciding, quarterback usually, to take over the game. and compensate for the weaknesses in other places. Aaron Rodgers yesterday looked like that guy to me. Even the 4.3 yards per carry on the ground through the air, it was like he decided, I'm not going to let anything happen here.
But here's what he did. He took what they gave him. They're playing man coverage behind it or two-man behind it.
And
so
he was on one leg. Are we forgetting that?
Yeah, the hammy gets tugged on. But he didn't try to force the ball. He was smart about what he was trying to do, especially early in the game. He wasn't trying to force it. He didn't play frustrated. And that's what I was going to get to of the last. You saw him play frustrated. And no team can do that. And then your defense has given up a bunch of points. Everything kind of gets lumped in. And to your point, I'd never heard anybody bash Ted Thompson. I mean, everybody was getting thrown under the bus in Green Bay. And that's what happens when expectations are as high as they are on a football team. When you got guys in the locker room, here's what I would always say to a veteran guy. If you got an issue with the way we're playing, come in-house and let's talk about it. The last place I want to hear about it is from the press when I walk back in on Monday morning or if I have a conference after you that night. I don't want to hear what you said and have to explain it. Everybody in their locker room started doing some of that. And you can't, at the end of the day, you got to get in-house and say, we're not accomplishing what we're supposed to be doing. Everybody's got a role. Everybody's got accountability and ownership. They got to take it up. But when you start going, hey, we don't got the energy. We don't have the effort. Like,
I want to take it back to Rodgers for a second.
Because it will divide a locker room.
I want to take it back to Rodgers on the field for a second. What you're talking about, taking what the defense gives them, that's what, like, Tom Brady does better than anyone ever. That's what Dak is doing this year. Those are those mistake-proof kind of quarterbacks.
Sure.
I felt like Rodgers at his best was the best version of that in the sense that he had all the physical gifts to run and throw. And in addition to that, he made good decisions while still being aggressive, getting the ball into tight windows. That's the guy I saw that guy again yesterday.
Yeah, but the defense they're playing is when you're talking about him in his prime, he had a good running game. They could establish the run. They could go make those plays. Right now, he is playing, behind the eight ball. I mean, when you don't have a running game, you can't be as challenging as you're talking about because there's no recovery. You can't eat clock. You're going to have to throw the ball. You got to throw it short. He's getting pressure because he has to extend plays. He's going to take a shot. All of those things. When he's aggressive, he is definitely at his best. But it requires the other 5 skilled guys to be in that same mindset. That's where your issue has been is Adams just started showing up. I mean, everybody's going to jump on the bandwagon. Yeah, he's just started to show up, right? Cobb last year had issues. This year, it had a hard time getting. Expected him to just hit the ground running. We all know receivers, ACLs, it is tough to come back from that, man, to get out of your break, to get over the top, all those things. And now think about from a defense perspective, you're going to play it like that. I mean, you're going to be willing to take more chances, challenge those receivers, jam on the line, try to throw off the timing, and then you see Rodgers back there patting it. It doesn't matter how strong your arm is, doesn't matter how any of that stuff is. You got to be aggressive, but you also got to understand what you're playing with from a defensive perspective. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, the Packers early in the season, had I thought their defense was going to play that good, I'd have said this team is a 13-win team. But now their defense has kind of come back to where I probably expect. They played good last night, but the weeks before, it's a struggle, right? I mean, that's where it is.
So things are looking positive. We saw the vintage bad man last night in Philly, but will Rodgers and the Packers run the table as predicted in their last 5 games? Go on Twitter now and vote. We'll share those results a little later in the show. But let's get to the other side of this matchup, gentlemen. Philly suffered its first home loss of the season after winning 3 straight. And now they've dropped 6 of their last 8. So the Eagles are now the only team in the NFC East with a losing record. Jeff, what's the problem down there in the city of brotherly love?
Boys are hurt. A lot of folks hurt. I mean, you look at this team and how they played early in the season. Wentz obviously has played very good football. Again, last night, played really good football. They don't have enough to get by a team like Green Bay. I mean, they're just not enough options, not enough things. Your running backs hurt, your 3 or 5 linemen are down, your defensive backfield's being adjusted because people are hurt. Everything that could go wrong for the Eagles from an injury perspective has gone that way. And then you got you got one of your receivers who's benched and he's healthy. I mean,
Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking for this guy to be the guy, and now he can't even go on the field. to overcome.
This is why it's a rare occasion. I can't believe I'm saying this. I actually disagree with Jeff Saturday. I'm sorry to break it down to you. You said injuries. No, personnel. That's what it is. The receivers can't play that much outside of Jordan Matthews. Jordan Matthews got hurt yesterday, got hurt in the second quarter, came back, tried to go in the third quarter, couldn't really do it. But what else do they have? If you look at Aguilar, he hasn't produced. What in God's name has happened to Zach Ertz and Brent Selleck? These are two tight ends. You got New England, people like that, two tight end systems. We know what they can do if you got those guys. We expected and anticipated that the Eagles were going to be able to utilize those dudes. They can't do it. Then you got guys that, you know, you're talking about 5 different changes in your starting lineup. Aguilar was inactive.
Before you move on from the tight ends, let me just say this. Players don't forget how to play. They're not being featured, but those guys don't just stop knowing how to play. They're not featuring them, getting them the ball, making effort to get that.
So what are you trying to say, Jeff? I mean, are we saying that we miss Andy Reid? I mean, what are you saying here?
What are you saying? It's a first-year coach. You have got to get used to what you have and how you're going to do it. Because if you look at what they have, players don't just, I mean, I understand the cliff. At some point, all players hit a cliff, but guys don't just stop playing. They have to be featured. They're trying to do different things. They're trying to get other things established. Maybe they're nervous about Wentz and the way he's going to put it. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. You can't just say
Wentz is the only guy I feel good about it.
Are you too quite done? Would everyone like the answer? Would you like the answer? I can't believe I have to tell a great offensive lineman the answer to this question.
I just said 3 of 5 down.
No,
go ahead.
No. Before Lane Johnson started serving his suspension, this is a 3-1 team, and the quarterback had a QBR that ranked 17th in the league. That's between Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins. Think that level quarterback this year.
Are you about to say what I think you're going to say?
When Lane Johnson went out, since then, they're 2-5. And his QBR,
stop it.
His QBR,
don't be nodding at him.
His QBR, hold on.
I love this.
His QBR,
oh
we got media.
This is
who's going inside the numbers.
I can't believe you're going to say this.
His QBR went from 17th to 31st. Now, they say
Lane needs a raise.
I got to get him a raise. Go ahead.
Now, they say correlation is not causality. But damn it, that's a good correlation right there.
I got to stand up for this.
I love
so let me get, hold on.
I love
hold on.
I've never heard a right tackle ever being
a right tackle.
What happened?
Really? This is unbelievable. So let me get this straight.
They are the third.
Let me get this straight. Hold on. Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. The Eagles went from 3-1 to 5-6, from first place, pretty time for first place, to out of the picture in the NFC East because of one offensive lineman.
Lane Johnson.
You love this, don't you?
And I will tell you why.
This is my favorite day I've ever been on this show.
Unbelievable. And I will tell you why. Because and by the way, the Eagles' point differential also went from first in the NFL to, what is it?
Man, you can read all the damn numbers you want. Don't tell me no. First of all, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Now, why does that happen?
Go ahead, Max. Go ahead, Max.
Why does that happen? Because the Eagles were holding it together on offense early in the season with spit and bubble gum. And there was a tipping point with a rookie head coach and a rookie who was a quarterback and a rookie quarterback who they were starting. They weren't supposed to have a good season, and they caught lightning in a bottle.
For sure.
Because they could protect the quarterback and even block for the run just well enough that the other parts of the team, including the defense, were able to do their thing. And when they lost their best offensive lineman, second best offensive lineman.
Well, Kelsey's pretty good, too, Matt.
Okay, whatever, top 2. Okay. When they lost that guy and everyone was looking, let's not pretend that beforehand we weren't like, hey, Lane Johnson's got to serve that suspension. What's going to happen?
Right.
You know what happened? All hell broke loose. It was a tipping point for this team. Jeff Saturday.
I love you. I've never heard anybody.
Y'all are shameful. Y'all got together before this show. This is unbelievable.
Articulate argument about offensive line play. If I had you as my agent, I would have made 3 times. I'd have had a 3 multiplier with you putting that thing together for me. We can look at Manning's number one. I would love that.
NFL Live all the time. I watch you on NFL Live all the time in sports. I have never seen you as happy as I see you right now. So
I'm coming to this show regularly now.
Let's just analyze this for our viewing audience here. So let me get this straight.
I'm with him.
We got Carson Wentz. We got Darren Sproles. We didn't have that Ryan Matthews last time. I'm just talking about overall the season. All right. We got the Jordan Matthews. All right. We got Jim Schwartz as a defensive coordinator. We got Malcolm Jenkins and Fletcher Cox and Carwin and the crew.
Hey,
we got all of these dudes.
Hold
on. Let me get guys. So let me get this straight. The Philadelphia Eagles, figuratively speaking, have fallen off the cliff. Right?
Yeah.
Because of one offensive lineman.
Big lane.
This is what we're saying. This is what we're saying to the national audience right here.
The idea of the blind side, which became, the blind side was a big deal, and the movie and the whole thing.
Yeah.
In fact, when Casey Joyner, the football scientist, studied this, you know what he found? It's unless you're facing an elite defensive end, right end, the left tackle is a little bit overstated their importance. The most important thing is that you're strong throughout the line. And the problem is if you have a glaring weakness on the line, the defenses will attack that consistently.
And
when you go from a top guy to a sub-replacement guy, that's what happens.
It's hard. And the quarterback
I got him. Let me ask you a question.
I love this. Isn't
it true? And because I'm going someplace here, so don't give me a soliloquy. Just answer my question. Isn't it true that you have complained about the Giants' offensive line?
Yes.
Quite some time? Has that stopped Eli Manning? Has that stopped Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr.?
Yes.
I'm sorry. What's their record? What's their record? Or have they been winning football games?
They'd be better with a better offensive line.
I'm not denying that they wouldn't be better with a better offensive line. I am saying to you, we have lamented.
Give Wentz Odell Beckham Jr.
Wait a minute. We have lamented, by the way, I saw him last night, told me to tell you what's up. The point is this. We sit up there, right? We have lamented Green Bay, New York, various other teams. We've raved about Dallas, Oakland, to a lesser degree Pittsburgh and the offensive line. But we've lamented on many, many occasions suspect offensive lines. Period. And you're telling me because of one dude at right tackle, makes a difference with you. Got to be. You should be ashamed of yourself. You know. See, that's what it is. You're feeding the ego right there.
Well,
y'all collaborated before the show. This is unbelievable. Y'all gonna say that with a straight face? I know Lane Johnson's big time, but one right tackle.
Hold on, I want to say something about this. This reminds me, in all sports, defense wins championships. But when the 04 Pistons are rampaging through the playoffs and people see the Lakers, the Lakers are going to kill them. Do you believe it or not? If we believe that the offensive line, and I believe it is the foundation. Look at the Cowboys.
So do I. I didn't say offensive line. I didn't say offensive line. I said an offensive lineman.
Because that
can be
the tipping point
that makes guys move,
Listen, I understand that, but the point is
with a rookie quarterback,
it don't shift you from 3-1 to 5-6.
Apparently, it does.
No, I don't.
The numbers don't lie.
Have you seen the?
Did you read the football scientist?
Forget it. No, I have not. Let me say this to you. Have you seen? Have you seen the Philadelphia Eagles secondary? Have you seen these two guys that they have? I mean, it's a Leotis McKelvin and Nolan Carroll. Did you see what happened to them last night? You got Malcolm Jenkins, who's your safety. He's your third quarterback in this situation. Right. You got this kid, Jalen Mills, that's coming off the bench. You're wondering what he's going to be able to do. And he actually did a better job than the dude started for you. There's no Lito Shepard here. There's no Bobby Taylor here. There's no Troy Vincent here. The days of the Philadelphia Eagles elite secondary are over. What are y'all talking about?
Don't just throw that last night all on the DBs. The defensive line didn't make hay getting to Aaron Rodgers. That is
Fletcher Cox didn't do their job either. I totally get it. I told Baldwin and Fletcher Cox. They Graham and those boys. They didn't do their job. They didn't do their job.
You're not wrong about that. Of course you're not wrong. You miss it. It's not the only thing. But if that's the difference, but if it's the tipping point, if that's the difference between 1 or 2 losses, even 1 loss, and all of a sudden you're 6-5 instead of 5-6, you still have a season.
All right.
Oh, my Lord.
He goes back last
end of the year, yeah.
Okay, let's bring it all back.
So Lane Johnson comes back.
Well, we'll see.
Things will be so much better. You've got to be kidding me.
All right, so Matt says Aaron Rodgers is back. You guys said he never left. Jeff, thank you so much for being with us.
Bye, Jeff.
This was really fun.
Bye, Jeff.
All right, let's leave it there. You know who else never left? Russell Westbrook carrying the Thunder to a win over the Knicks with yet another triple-double. It's all he does, but how far can the rest best carry OKC this season? Find out that next. And with Dak Prescott taking control of the Cowboys offense, many have said Big D should trade Tony Romo. But former quarterback Joe Theismann says a buyer beware.